Welcome to A New Human Story. In this series, I'm speaking with young changemakers who are creating a better world for us all. I'm so excited today to be talking to the amazing Sammie Vance, who is the founder of Sammie's Buddy Benches. She is on a mission to spread kindness and help the planet at the same time. Sammie just turned 12 and has had benches built in 100 schools across the USA. It just shows you don't have to be an adult to make change. Welcome, Sammie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you. I'm so excited because as I was mentioning earlier, when I read your interview responses, it was just, you're so wise for such a young girl.
Yeah.
And I think people often get overwhelmed by all the challenges in the world and don't know where to begin and think that the solutions have to be so complicated. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's the simplest things that can make the biggest difference in someone's life. And
Yeah.
so I really like that about this project. It's something that everyone can get involved in, everyone can do, and it just really makes a big difference in so many different ways. So I love it. It's great. Can you tell us a little bit about your project and how you got inspired to start this project?
Yeah, so I heard about the Buddy Bench project at summer camp, and it was just people that were doing it out of metal benches, not plastic caps. So I went home to tell my mom about it, and she's like, "That's a great idea. Let's research it, and we can make an appointment with the principal." My mom later found the company that is called Green Tree Plastics that actually takes the caps and turns them into benches. So my mom told me about that, and I'm like, "Hey, that's an amazing idea because it is going to help the environment and help friendships." And then I drew a comic and we approached it to the principal, and he said that's a great idea. Since we at the time we had to collect 400 pounds of plastic caps, we decided to aim for one in 1 year, and that's how it all started.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell us about these benches. You collect these bottle caps that would otherwise go into dump sites and end up in the oceans and pollution and all those kinds of things that we hear about all the time. So you collect these bottle caps and you melt them down, and this company turns them into benches that you then put into schoolyards,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
so what's the concept behind having these buddy benches in schools?
So um, for the friendship aspect, it's actually really amazing because a buddy bench is a place when someone is lonely. They can sit on the buddy bench and another person can come up to them and ask them to play and they can play together. But it's extra amazing because if you're shy like I was, and I still can be shy, um, the person sits on the bench and another person knows to come up to them and ask them to play. So they don't have to go up to someone and ask them to play.
That's amazing. So it's almost like the benches provide an opportunity for people to start
Yeah.
being nice to each other, start to build kindness, and
Mhm.
start building friendships. That's amazing. So are you seeing that people are embracing these benches? Are people using them? Are people starting to build friendships and community around them?
Yeah, I absolutely love it because I think that it's more in use because actually my school helped collect and take part in the Buddy Bench project. So it makes them more proud of it and willing to use it. And I love to see people sit on it and then other people come up to ask them to play because I just know that it's working.
That's amazing. It's such a simple way, but yet you're right. I mean, everyone has issues with shyness and we don't want to talk about when we're not feeling good or not
Mhm.
happy. And this is such a simple way because you don't actually have to start telling everyone that you're sad. You can just sit on the bench and then people will learn to come up and to give
Yeah.
you a smile and to want to play with you. That's so amazing. And so what is your goal with these benches? To build them in many different schools?
Yeah, so I've helped around 150 schools so far, and
Wow.
I'm hoping to get more because it helps with the environment a lot and helps get the community together, and everyone can help. And then also it'll help with friendships and to make sure that everyone has a friend.
That's amazing. I love the community aspect because I think that you're right. If we all can contribute something to building something better, even if you're not going to be the one leading the project necessarily, you can contribute
Mhm.
something and then you feel like you've made a difference and contributed
Right,
to
yeah.
making something better. It's such a brilliant idea to get everyone involved because everyone can be part of it, right? It's so
Mhm.
lovely. So
Yeah.
with all of these sort of mental health issues that young people have in this country, and in North America, frankly, especially young people, how did you get the idea that friendship could be a solution for helping people be happier and feel better?
Well, I guess when I heard about it, it really hit me, like, I've been lonely a lot, and pretty much everyone's been lonely at one point, and, I wanted to help fix it, but I didn't really know that it did until I heard about that, and I'm like, "That's an amazing idea, and it could help so many people in such a simple way." So, that's, kind of how I thought that it was a great idea because I heard about it and I'm like, "That could really help."
Hmm. That's very cool. So, for other young people, I know a lot of young people want to start making a change and building a better world and building a world that we all want to be proud of and live in and be happy and healthy. And, but oftentimes people don't have the courage. It takes a lot of courage to get out there and first of all, find what you're interested in doing and then take the steps to do something about it. So how did you have the courage to do that and how did you start on that path? I mean, do you have any advice for young people who are curious about getting involved as well?
Yeah, so something that I like to say is you don't just have to be an adult to make difference, you could be a kid too. Um, and I was super shy at the beginning. If you look at my very first video, I was super shy, and I look at the videos now and I think that I have learned a lot from this project. And I have learned how to um, like speak more, I guess, fluently, you could say, or better in front of crowds. And I've learned just so much. And one small thing can make a big difference. Just opening the door for someone, that'll make their day. And then they'll want to make other people's day. So kindness is really simple. It can be small, it can be big. Um, yeah, I just think something that will make someone else's day. My project started with one cap. So your project, if you want to start a project, can start with anything.
That's great advice. So start small and just start. And I think that oftentimes we get very overwhelmed by these big ideas. But if you just
Mhm.
start with one thing and just start with opening a door or one bottle cap, and then it starts to grow from there. And then before you know it, you've made a lot of change. And I also think it's really wise what you said about the fact that we don't always have to have all the skills right away. I mean, I also found that when I first started, I was afraid of public speaking and it made me nervous. And just because you're not good at it right away doesn't mean that you should give up, right?
Right.
I mean, there's lots of ways to push through our fears and be able to take on something if we're really passionate about it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think young people can find their passions and find the causes that they're interested in?
So I actually heard this one time from a good friend of mine, and she said if someone wants to find something that they're passionate about, you think of something that breaks your heart. Because like for me, it was loneliness. I don't want anyone to feel lonely because it's not a good feeling. And um, just thinking about that and knowing that then you want to do something about that. But yeah, so
Good.
that's how you can find something that you're passionate about.
That's great. All right. So, I mean, that's great advice for all the young people out there. To start to get engaged and read and talk to people and maybe even look in your community and see where some of the challenges are and what makes you sad or what makes you excited or passionate. And I always say when you feel passionate, it's your inner voice driving you to start to do something that is your purpose, right? So
Yeah.
start listening to that inner voice because it knows you better than anyone else. And so, so one of the things that we're talking about in this series, in A New Human Story, is the idea of what the vision looks like. What kind of world do we want to create? We're all now, I think, tasked as the younger generation to begin to build a better world that we all want to be proud of, and where everyone is happy and living in joy at some level, or at least we're helping to create that for as many people as possible.
Mhm.
So, what does your world look like that you would love to be part of creating?
So the world's not going to be perfect. Um, but I envision the world to just be a bunch of kindness, seeing people or seeing kindness over there, from the left to the right. Just seeing kindness will make someone else's day, and being treated kind will make you want to treat someone else kind. So it'll be a chain reaction, and eventually it'll go a very long way. So I imagine the world that I want to help create, a bunch of just kindness to everyone.
I think that's a beautiful answer because that's ultimately if we all start being nicer to each other, we'll also start to be nicer to ourselves and
Mhm.
to the
Yeah,
planet and to Mother Earth. Because once we start, everything is relationships. And so, we're
yeah,
not very nice to our natural world because we're not nice to each other and we're not nice to ourselves. And so
right.
once we start to learn how to be compassionate and kind and understanding with one another, then it will have ripple effects to everything else. And I think that's a
Yes.
beautiful way to start. So, talking about nature and the awesomeness of this planet that we live on, do you have any stories of just a moment when you were out in nature and you were like, wow, this planet is amazing. And I'm so just in awe of the awesomeness of this world that we live in.
Yeah, so just walking outside every day, I'm so amazed on how this world has gone, I guess, a long way, and how I'm just amazed every day. And I love to hear stories about people that are helping the planet because it needs help right now. So people helping it just makes it go a long way and to make it like even more beautiful.
I agree 100%. It's beautiful. Well, thank you very much, Sammy. That was it was a great talk with you, and I really am inspired by all the work you're doing. I think that all the young people can also be inspired to just start with something. Start with what you're passionate
Mhm.
about and what you care about in your local community, and it doesn't have to be, on a national basis. It doesn't have to involve everybody to start, but you
Right.
can start small. And I mean, look at your project, Sammy. You're now starting to go across the country, right?
Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing. It's incredible. Well, thank you so much for everything you're doing. I know it must be a lot of work. And actually, on that note, I'm curious with all the schoolwork that you have to do and this big project that you're taking on and all the change you're making, how do you find balance in your own life? How do you stay focused and grounded and make sure that you're staying happy and strong in yourself?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I will make sure to balance it and make sure to definitely leave some aside for myself and to spend time with my family and friends.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's just things like you wrote in your interview about journaling and your thankfulness,
Mhm.
right? And I think that oftentimes as change makers, it becomes, as much as you want to change the world, it takes a lot of energy and time and commitment. And so, how do you stay, focused on your goals and also make sure that you have some balance and grounding in your life?
Yeah, so I definitely do stay focused on my goals. I try to write down my goals so that way it'll help me like reach it faster because I'm set to one thing. And then I, like you're saying, I write a thankful journal, like 10 things that I'm thankful for every night. And um, I have like family on there every day, like some repeated things like family, friends, education, and yeah, just so that I remember that everyone in my life has helped me so much and supports me, and I'm so thankful for them.
It's such a great exercise, and I think that's something that everyone can learn. And I write in my journal every day, and I think that it's such a beautiful thing because the energy you put out is what you get back, and the more you're grateful for things, the more the universe wants to support you in your journey as well.
Mhm.
And so I think it's the small things every day done consistently that make a big difference. So I think that's a very wise piece of advice. So, with that, I want to say thank you very much, Sammie. That was
Thank
very
you.
inspiring. And we look forward to seeing all the incredible things that you do this year and the coming year and after that. And we'd love to chat again and catch up with you in a year from now and see all the incredible things you've done. So, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
we look forward to hearing more from you, Sammie.